Welcome back, everybody. Today, a little something different. I've been knocking out some knives, and I have a customer that's got a chainsaw chain that needs to be sharpened. So today, I'll show you the steps I take to get these back to the customer sharp. So stick around. So the first thing that we do is we get these cleaned up. This one isn't too terrible. I get it, some of them they're pretty gunked up, rusted, bad. So I throw it in my parts washer here, and this has just got currently it's got Simple Green in it and a little bit of degreaser, and we just let it run. I put a little tub in there so it kind of collects it and kind of does a little bath of it. So we'll let it soak for a little bit. Then after it sits, I will take a wire brush, a brass wire brush, and we'll go ahead and clean it up. So we want to get all that resin from the sap out of there, and we don't want it gumming up our grinding discs on our grinder, but also it's just gonna keep it from getting really sharp. So we like to get these cleaned up, back to the customer, and we'll get them oiled up too before they get sent back off. So we'll let this do its thing. I'll bring you back when we're ready to grind on it. All right, so it's been soaking for a little while. We're just gonna take this brass brush, try to get down and everything, get it really clean. Flip it over, do the other side. All right, we're set up here in the Oregon, for you guys that are gonna ask, the model 520-120. I tried a cheaper version of this, and I will be the first to tell you, don't cheap out. Just go ahead, buy the Oregon model. You're not going to be disappointed with it. There's many out there that replicate this one, and they look to be exact. They're not. There's many problems with the knockoff one. So just go ahead and get the Oregon brand one. It's a little bit more money, about, I think at the time it was a little over twice as much, but well worth it. I haven't had any issues with this one. It holds all the angles that you set it to, and it's good to go. So it's a little bit of fussing around to find out what your angles are. For your chain, you can look them up. There's a lot of sites online that'll tell you. The Oregon book, the manual that you get with it, it has a chart in the back that does a really good job. There's different gauges. If I can, different gauges you can get here and here. It'll do your grinding wheel, tell you what size grinding wheel are. You set it in here, it'll tell you what your different measurements are, and that'll help you identify your chain. Like I said earlier, this is basically a brand new chain. It's a little bit dull, but it's not that bad. So customer probably just wants to get it freshened up. Does have a few nicks on some teeth, but overall this has never been sharpened. There's no signs of this ever been touched. So this will be a new one for us. So I have my tilt angle at 55 on here. I have this set at 30 degrees, and I have my backstop here set. So we're all ready to go. One little trick that I like to do is just take a Sharpie and mark the first cutter that I'm going to be sharpening. That way when I get back to it, I see it and I know I've hit them all and I'm ready to flip over and do the other side. So we'll get to sharpening this, and then I'll show you how you take your gauge and on the oh, it's not a ripper, I'll show you how to adjust these and set those with a file. You can do it with this machine, but it's just as easy to do it with a file. But this is really quick. I'll put you on time lapse and we'll bring you back after we get both sides sharpened. So we've done both sides. One tooth points one direction, one tooth points the other direction, so that's why you have to turn it and go put it on 30 degrees one side, 30 degrees on the other side, the way that these are pointing. One's pointing this way, one's pointing that way. So we've gone all the way around the chain. This is a relatively small chain. Another tip that I can give you is when you're, so this is free right now, this is your clamp. When you're setting it against your backstop, give it a little bit of tension on the back with your hand, then lock it in. That way it's nice and straight and it's always in the same position. If you kind of just run it up there, tighten it, you're not all the way up against your stop there. So give it a little back tension. Now you're nice and tight. You're in the same spot every time. So again, we've got our starting mark, the one that's been Sharpied, and gives us an idea of where we're starting. So we'll get flat spots on 2 teeth. We'll set our gauge here on top, and if these need to be taken down, you'll just take your file, run it down across the rake, and it will file that down. You don't want these higher than your cutter because this is going to hit the wood first and your cutter's not going to be able to cut. So you got to take these down below the cutter, and that's why we have this gauge. And if you see, it's just ever so slightly lower than what the 2 teeth are. So if we set them here on our 2 teeth, you grind it till there's nothing, till it's not dragging metal anymore. That means this is now lower than those 2 teeth. And you'll go through and you'll go across each tooth. This being a brand new, well, essentially a brand new blade, and this is the first sharpening, none of these need to be taken down. They're all right at the top. So your second, your third sharpening, that one needs to be just a little bit. Second, third sharpening, you're going to start noticing where you're going to have to take these rakes down. So that one's a little proud. And it doesn't take much to get these filed down. I think I did that one. But this is an important step. If you don't do this, it doesn't matter how sharp your chain is, it's not going to cut because these rakes are higher than your cutting tooth. And it's trying to cut, and it's not going to do it because they're not sharp. All these are meant to do is remove that chip from the line that you're cutting. That one's a little proud. So don't skip this step. Honestly, this is probably more important than sharpening the chain itself. And we're back to our Sharpie mark. So if you don't have one of these, get one of these. You can get them about any place. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on Tractor Supply, anywhere that they sell chainsaws. Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards. You can get those. So now we are done sharpening this. When you're doing it, you may notice that there's a little burr right here on the top of the tooth. That's okay. The first time that this cuts through wood, it's going to remove that burr. So don't worry about that. A way that you can check to see if that's a sharp tooth is if you try to dig it into your fingernail and it catches like that. I can't pull it. It's sharp tooth. If it skates right across, it's dull. It doesn't have a bite on that corner, because that corner is what's doing all the work for you right there, where it makes that angle. So we'll get this over, we'll get it laid out so that we can get ready to package it, send it back to the customer. And stay tuned, I got a big announcement for you guys. All right, so this is the rust inhibiting paper that I was talking about. I get mine from Granger. I think you can even get it on Amazon, matter of fact. But I'll just take the chain and I'll just kind of coil it up. Not really wadding it up, but just coiling it up on itself. Laid in the middle, I use this ballistol. If you're not using this stuff for your woodworking equipment, you should look into it. It's a really good lubricant and rust inhibitor. It's kind of got an odor to it, but you get used to it. Give a liberal amount on your chain. Flip it over. We'll do the back side. And this acts as a penetrant as well, so it's going to get in all those links. And that's ready to go back to the customer. It's oiled, it's cleaned, it's sharpened, it's in a protective wrap, so they can set this in their chainsaw box, wherever. It's going to be fine. It's not going to rust. We've taken care of it. This is a good way to store your chains too. Then you can put it in a Ziploc baggie too if you want, and it'll stay good and fresh for you. So, moving on. That covers the sharpening. So, an update, I have this project going on. Customer that I made one of these for a year ago contacted me again, wants another one made for a gift. So we have got it. This time I went ahead and the company that I have laser cut my Patriots out for me. I sent them over my CAD design here that you see, and was able to cut this out. This is a 1095 steel. They went ahead and cut the bolster. Saves on time for me, plus all this intricate work here saves a ton of time, and it's all exact now. So it's 100% to my CAD, as you see. We went ahead and got the bevels ground into it. I'm waiting to heat treat it, but it's Michigan in April. You'd think it'd be warm, but it's cold. We've got snow coming and going, and I really don't feel like going outside and heat treating this today. So save that for maybe tomorrow. We're going to be making a handle. We've got some black G10 and some of this. I believe this is just a multi-layered acrylic, make a nice handle for that. We've got to turn down a pommel on the back side, that piece right there. So we'll make that, and we'll get this project sent out. So look forward to seeing a few things on this. I don't think I'm going to do a full build video on it, but I'll do some short clips on it as we get through it. So really excited. This one's looking really nice. We've got some really clean looking bevels. I got to surface grind this after we heat treat it. I'm not going to worry about it beforehand because it's going to oxidize, and we're going to have to touch up all these bevels after heat treat. So it's looking really nice. I mean, those bevels are just, they are crispy. It gives me the fizz. Looks good. So another huge announcement, other than this is just work project. We are going to be at the Bridgman Open Air Market doing knife sharpening this summer. I'm going to include in the video a list of the dates that we're planning on being there. If you're local to the area, say North Indiana, Southwest Michigan, come on down. We're going to be knife sharpening, doing scissor sharpening, and probably some woodworking sharpening as well if we have time. But we're going to be setting up a booth there, and hopefully a couple other places this year, but we're getting all set up to do that. So pretty cool. We got invited to do that this year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So a lot of big things coming to the channel, some new equipment, a little teaser. If you know about Baymont Metalworks, we have a piece of equipment coming from them. Waiting on that. Got shipping on it, so that's going to really help out with the flats on this and squaring up our handle faces. So not going to give you too much more information on that. We'll let you wait and see, but hopefully we'll have a video up on that in about a week's time. So as always, everybody, huge thanks to all my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Without you guys, this channel wouldn't be what it is, and I wouldn't be making content. So keep it up, guys. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see you on the next video.